Now in this video I'm going to show how I would set up the new camera that I have, the Legend, and just some information that I learned in the last day or so. And since it's not a riding day today, I thought I'd share the way I set up the camera. It's kind of simple, but it may be information you can use to your advantage. Now, step one, there's no substitute that I've ever found for just having the camera mounted rigidly. When it doesn't shake, or if it shakes more than if you put it on one of these diving board mounts, you never really get, unless you're editing out all the vibration, I never really get the footage I really want. So before you even go to the settings part of this, I would make sure I have a nice rigid mount. Now, I wanted to share this because a lot of people might be new subscribers to the channel. We've been picking up a lot of people every day. All these mounts are made out of aluminum. They're relatively rigid, and that contributes to getting the footage that I want. Now, here's another thing. If I were to mount this out here, this becomes what I call a diving board. The closer you can get it to the solid part of the motorcycle, or if you can mount it to something solid like your chest. I've never really been happy with helmet mounts because your head is moving all the time, unless you have a head that's solidly mounted to your shoulders. So having those solid mounts. But now once you have the solid mounts, and once you have a nice new high-tech camera like the Legend, now the trick is to figure out the settings you want to use. That's what I'm going to try to share. I don't want anybody to think that I just bought my first camera and the new kid on the block or anything, but I have handmade and adapted, and I have literally buckets of camera mounts that I've used in the last maybe 3 or 4 years. And from that I've learned some really good basic lessons that if you're new to this, I think you can use this information. And again, I'm just eliminating the one thing I was never really happy with myself was the helmet mounts. I just never got, I guess my head isn't mounted solidly to my body or something, but I always had, this is what I always had, and bumps and everything. And then I'd get home and it'd take me a half a day to edit that out. Anyway, if you understand the basics, and they're very simple, the camera should be mounted so that the camera doesn't vibrate. Now in this case, I've even found another thing. Let's see, I have one on each side of the handlebars. This one was good, but there'd always be a resonant vibration at about 6,000 RPM, so you'd be going through the gears and all of a sudden it'd go away. I made this one up. It goes right through the gears because this is 1/4-inch aluminum. Nice and solid. Again, the more solid you can make that camera mount, and there's other ways to get rid of vibration, but I've found for the motorcycles that I ride, these older bikes, just making the mount solid is the easiest way to do it. So now what I want to do is go downstairs to the shop, and I want to show how I would set the camera settings. This camera, the Legend, has a lot of settings. I'm not sure which ones I want to use yet. But it's not a day we're going to go out for a ride. We have several other family things to do. And we have some low light conditions that'll be good for setting a camera. So I wanted to show, we did a basic camera test the other day. I wanted to show this is a Legend SJ6. I keep calling it an SB6. I don't know why. It's probably because I'm not that smart. But anyway, I wanted to show, and this may be of some value to things that I've learned so far. Anyway, by sharing them, we hope other people will contribute into our knowledge base. You hold the button 3 seconds. On comes the camera. That's very nice. And of course, it's intuitive. I know people that are a lot younger than I am would have figured this out a lot quicker. I'm still in the learning curve, but it's telling me I'm in the video mode. This is my little tool selection, telling me the microphone is on, and we're going to get a remote mic. We're doing some research on this now. John Pothy is going to help me find a good quality plug-in mic, so what that'll allow me to do is talk while I'm driving around all over the place. Anyway, here's the thing I wanted to show. We go into the toolbar, and now each one of these steps, and of course each one of these features is something different. And you basically, you can fine tune. You can leave it all on the default settings, and most of the time I would do that. But one of the things I always want to do, I always want to test all the features, and I will test many of these. Just for the sake of this video, I want to show how I would test the most basic feature. If you have nothing else on this, and I want to make sure I have the gyro on, that's one of the things, because we're going to be putting this on a motorcycle in the next couple of days and getting some test footage. I want to have the loop recording on so the files don't get enormous. Now, one of the things this Legend camera does that I love, it makes the loop files sequential, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In other cameras that I have, some do and some don't. They make it 38. They just end with a number. And they're totally very hard to edit when you have 30, 40, 50 files to edit at the end of a ride. But the most basic thing anybody would want to do with this is the resolution. So if I look at the choices I have, and as I scroll through them, and as I said, you know, I got to get out of this. I'm trying to look through the lens and do this. I want to hit the resolution, and people would have I don't even have a smartphone, so you can imagine how smart I am. Anyway, I see I have a setting for 30 super, one for 4.3 aspect ratio, and the various ones. Now I'm gonna actually do some of these and show them what will happen. And I found this out the hard way, I guess. When I have other 4K cameras, I shoot in 4K. I'm always disappointed because the footage is very jumpy, and I'll do a demo of that, in a real-time demo. The problem is I don't have a real expensive card. I have a $10 card. It doesn't keep up with 4K. Sometimes the 2K it does, sometimes it doesn't. But I've found that just by eliminating that, look at this, I can't stop touching because I'm looking through this camera lens. Anyway, back to resolution. And again, I always, when I have a new toy, let's call it a toy, I always like to try all the features. Now, I'll start with, but I won't even put them in any sequence. What I'll do, I'll try that resolution, go outside, shoot some video, go to the next resolution, the next one, and see how they come out. So what I did today is I just played with the settings on the camera and tried to figure out what would work the best under my conditions. It's a cloudy day. I set the camera up to record 1080 by 30, 4.3. I want to see how that's going to look when I put it out on a TV screen. Now, this is the thing too I wanted to see, because this is the gyro cam. I want to see if that's going to make any difference. I'm shaking it up and down right now. Doesn't look like that does much. Side to side, picture stays pretty stable, up and down. Guess we're going to find out. Anyway, I wanted to see how the color is going to come out. I have adjustment for the color yet. See, we got some dark colors over here. See what we got. Again, I always spend some time just playing with the camera, trying out the different features, go outside, do a little test. Once I get the test done, some bright colors. But the real test is going to be when I get this on a motorcycle, of course. Okay, this test is of a 1080 by 30 normal setting. Absolutely normal, not wide, and not 4.3. And I'm doing this under relatively low light conditions to begin with. Of course, I'm going to go through each one of the features, and by the end of the day, hopefully have the camera set to optimize what I'm doing. 1080 by 30. Okay, this test is 1080 by 60. 1080 by 60. I'm not sure what we get for the extra 30 frames a second until I obviously get this on a motorcycle, but it'll give me some data for the database. Okay, this is a 2K test. Usually 2K and 4K, they overwhelm the card that I have in the machine. You'd have to get a better card. And I'm not really interested in this because these, when I'm loading this up to YouTube, I'm not looking to make a Gone with the Wind, but this is 2K by 30. And we'll look at all these tests somewhere in the afternoon. Now I always do a 4K test, even though I don't plan on using 4K. And of course the file sizes just get overwhelming too with that. But anyway, I do want to do the test, and I do want to compare pretty much all the settings. This is 4K by 24. Okay, and this is 1080 by 30, super wide. I'm not sure if this is going to be what we want, but again, I've got time today to try the various settings, and it's making for an interesting test, that's for sure. Okay, so that was just some of what I did in my my attempt to figure out. I found out that unlike some of the other cameras, you have to hold this a full 3 or 4 seconds. There you go. And again, all the little quirks. And I think it's wonderful that so many people have posted for this exact camera videos on YouTube that I've been able to pick up some tips from. And I hope other people, of course, can learn from my experience. But anyway, and basically just go back over this. I've tested every one of the features now. For lack of trying to keep the video fun to watch, I don't want it to go on forever. But there are several other features. The low light mode. Maybe sometime I'll be at Rutt's Hut where the bikes are. I want to use low light mode. I always want to use loop recording. The gyro sensor, I want to make sure it's on. The audio, maximum volume. I don't like to see the date and time stamp on the video. It's just annoying. I don't like it. And you have different video formats and whatever. But these personalized settings, this thing I just showed of how to go about and do a test, just go by, take the camera out, and shoot it in that setting, change the setting, shoot it in that setting, change the setting, shooting that thing. Come down, look at it on your TV, and then you make the decision. And I'm going to go through each one of these so that the first day I actually get to ride the motorcycle, I'll have a good basic start for how I wanted to shoot the footage.